If you live in the state of California, I would appreciate it very much if you sent this video to some local gun stores near you. I'm going to do my best to not suck start my Glock. The amount of times that I've had to explain this to people that seem to be in the know is kind of baffling to me. Today we're discussing firearm precursor laws in the state of California, a law that is going to go into effect very, very soon. This law is something that is one of the most confused topics when it comes to California gun laws. Now, I'm not a lawyer, this is not legal advice, but it's one of the most confused topics. I would put it right up there with transportation laws in the state of California. Some of the biggest proponents of false information are gun stores, and that's pretty unfortunate. So most of the good gun stores out there are already aware of this kind of thing, but it might be worth making aware that this firearm precursor law might not be what they believe it is. Today, we're going to be discussing Senate Bill AB 879, which was passed into law. We're going to be discussing AB 2382, which did not get passed into law. And then we are going to be discussing California Penal Code 16531, which defines what an unfinished frame or receiver or firearm precursor part is. Before we get going, though, I really do want to say thank you to everyone that supports this channel. If you want to use any of the links down in the description below, whether it's pre-workout, body armor, getting your blood work done, a whole wide varieties of ways to support your body and protect yourself inside and out. So when it comes to this firearm precursor law, we need to discuss the source of all of the bad information out there. Senate Bill AB 2382. This was a bill that was introduced in 2018 at the same time as 879. Now, AB 2382 was the bill that was significantly worse. The way that this bill was written was in such a way that every single part that you would want to acquire, if it's a firearm part essentially, would have been considered a firearm precursor part. This would have meant that you could no longer just go to any retailer online and have something sent to you. You would have to send it to an FFL or a firearm precursor part vendor, I believe is the way they phrased it. This law did not pass. This law, if I will link it down in the description to show you, AB 2382 that would have banned the online sale or sale not through a licensed dealer of any firearm part did not pass, okay? So if you have an FFL right now sending out notices that they just received, because all FFLs did just receive a notice that looks a little something like this. If they are still confused and they are saying that what that means is that every firearm part is going to have to go through their store, they're wrong and they're spreading bad information. Please inform them that they're wrong. AB 2382 did not get signed into law. AB 879 did get signed into law. And what does it define as a firearm precursor part? Well, we'll discuss that in just a second, but basically it's 80%. Think of it like this. If it is a 80% frame or receiver, an AK flat, a polymer 80 lower, anything like that, if it is something that you as an end user would be able to reasonably convert into a firearm, those are the parts that are going to have to go through an FFL. Now, AB 879 was initially, I believe, set to take into effect in 2025. That 2025 date got pushed forward or pushed back, made sooner, through the same bill that banned other assault weapons, which, if you didn't already register as an assault weapon, the time period has already closed. Whether you chose to do that or not, totally up to you. But part of the same bill that banned other assault weapons also moved the effective date of AB 879 to July 1st of this year. July 1st, 2022, all of your 80s, all of your frames and receivers, all of your unfinished frames or receivers are going to need to go through a licensed firearms precursor part vendor. So, again, we are going to now read Penal Code 16531, and we're going to read what this actually is. What is a frame or receiver? As used in this part, firearm precursor part means means a component of a firearm that is necessary to build or assemble a firearm and is described in either of the following categories. See how it's not just open-ended there? It's in this one of two categories. 1. An unfinished receiver, including both a single part receiver and a multiple part receiver, such as a receiver in an AR-10 or AR-15 style firearm. An unfinished receiver includes a receiver tube, a molded or shaped polymer frame or receiver, a metallic casting. Lists a lot of things. I'll leave that description down in the description of this video. It's not the upper receiver. It's not the complete upper. It's the lower receiver, the frame or receiver of the firearm. The second category is an unfinished handgun frame. Then, Section D says, the Department of Justice, consistent with this section, or Section B says, the Department of Justice, consistent with this section, shall provide written guidance and pictorial diagrams demonstrating each category of firearm precursor part specified in Subdivision A. Firearm precursor parts that can only be used on antique firearms as defined in Subsection C of 16170 are not firearm precursor parts. So, if you have an FFL today in the state of California saying that uppers, barrels, triggers, scopes, all of that stuff can no longer be purchased as of July 1st of this year, they're wrong. They're telling you either a lie or they are mistaken. The only thing that is going to be affected by this are things like 80% lowers, 80% frames, flats, jigs, that kind of thing. You are not going to have to purchase a barrel or an upper receiver of an AR through a licensed vendor. You are still going to be able to get that online sent straight to your house. If you have any questions, drop a comment down below. Again, I really would appreciate if you sent this to some stores or some people that are confused, because this is one of the most commonly asked questions I get and the most commonly gotten wrong piece of information that I've seen floating around lately. Especially since just recently, every single gun store received that same letter that basically said, hey, if you want to be a firearms precursor part vendor, you can apply here, and informing people of the law. The problem is, many of them are still thinking that AB382 passed. It did not. AB879 did. AB879 only defines a firearm precursor part as essentially an 80% frame or receiver. I have been holding in the rage this whole video. I have been trying to speak very professionally and calmly because I knew if I did not keep it under wraps and keep it under control, I would have blown a gasket. I hope this video was informative to you. I hope I don't need to make another video like this. I hope that your FFL is a good one and understands the law. I hope your FFL isn't lying to you. But that's not always the case. You guys know the drill. Have fun, be safe, stay dangerous. Peace.